Hi moms and dads, it's a beautiful day and welcome to another episode of Today's Parent, where we connect you with experts and provide you with information to make your parenting journey a bit more easier. I'm your host, Christine Castina. In today's episode, we are talking about quality time, how we can spend quality time with our children and making those moments count. In studio today, we have Pauline Gekanga, who's a counselor who's going to share with us pointers on how we can make those moments count. Welcome to the show. Pauline, it's a pleasure to have you.
Nice to be back.
Always a pleasure.
Yes.
You know, it looks like way back when our parents could find time to spend with their children. Is it that it's becoming harder for today's parents to find time to spend time with their child? What do you think is happening?
Quality time. Spending quality time is being actively involved with your child in your mind, physically and emotionally.
Physically
Emotionally and physically, emotionally, and in your mind. You know,
Right.
you're there with totality.
You're present.
There. There's no phone, you're not watching, but the child knows that they have your full attention. First of all is the kind of livelihood that as parents we want to live. You know, there's a certain place where maybe I'm probably 30s, in my 40s, or even late 20s. There's a particular place where you've set yourself that I need to get to this place. But then probably even financially, maybe live in a particular neighborhood. But what we forget as we continue growing in this probably family, in this marriage, there are the little ones growing, you know, the little ones who we have brought out and now we have become parents. And we forget that everything may not align itself the same way.
Yeah.
Because then you need to know which one can I give in for the sake of the parenting.
Right.
Now, the livelihood and where I want to be and what I want to be doing can be postponed a little bit more, but parenting cannot be postponed. When the child is born, they need to be parented.
Okay.
But then you can decide probably a particular job, a particular business. I can pend it maybe because it's taking up a lot of my time for the sake of probably the formative years of my children, maybe when they grow a little bit bigger into their teens and then into teenage and then into young adult, they may need all our lives. If you check about parents who their children are in campus, for example, you'll find that they are still strong parents. They are parents who can still do something else. But some give up so much of the time which their children needed to have for them to be able maybe to even build an empire, you know, to be... So you want your cake, but you still want to eat it.
You know, I've never understood that saying, Pauline, to have your cake and eat it. Why can't we just have the cake and eat it?
Why can't I have it? Yeah. I know, yeah. Because you cannot then... Everything is happening just like if you never had children. Definitely something needs to change. Something needs to give in.
So, Pauline, the first challenge that you have mentioned is that time is an issue and we're not getting more of it and we can't postpone it.
Yes.
And our children are growing. We must be missing out on a lot. What can we do better?
Yes, whether you parent or not, your children are growing. So it's either your children parent themselves, or the nanny parents them, or the teacher parents them, and then you're left to just be, you know, like a sponsor. You know, your work is paying for them. Exactly. Yeah, you become a sponsor because your work is, you're paying bills, you're paying the school fees and everything. But when it comes to the quality times, which the quality time with your children, then it's not there. And that is the time where I keep telling parents, when you have a lot of time with your children, that is when your children get even aha moments. You know, moments of something you said to them, and that something will keep them for life. They'll always remember, you know, my mom said this. But then when you don't have that, they don't have things to help them in life later because they are having other people who are giving them that quality time. So they can only get from those ones, but not from you, who is the primary caregiver of your children.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pauline, another challenge is that we as working mothers, as working dads, we feel like we need to provide more for our children.
Yes.
You know, way back when our parents used to tell us that they used to walk to school without shoes and life was simple. What has changed? Where do we get to this point where we feel that we need to provide more and more for our children? And how can we do better?
Yes.
Does more mean that the child will be happier?
I would say it's it's a human thing to feel what you didn't have. Maybe if you can have it, it will make your life. And I'm not saying we shouldn't live a comfortable life, but then a comfortable life is relative. I mean, even those who grew up walking to school, it's not that they were not having a comfortable life. I mean, you'd meet them laughing, they're whatever, with wonderful memories. Absolutely. But right now, you'll see us having those comfortable lives, but our time is very limited. So we don't even have time to laugh, just be happy together as families, talk about jokes, because you're coming in so late, going up early, because then you have to keep up. Whatever lifestyle you choose, you have to keep up with that lifestyle. If I choose a more demanding lifestyle, it means I have to work extra hard to maintain. And yet this person living a basic life, whatever basic would mean to you, is being able to still have what they still have the food. It's not that when you earn more, you'll eat more food than this one. Yes. So I think for me is asking maybe parents to know what is basic for them. Can they live up with basic so that they can now be able to have more time with their children? And that will not mean they cannot work harder later. Yeah. And I'm not saying they are not again working hard now. Yeah. But what is important for them? Is it this or is it the quality time? Okay. And for me, quality time can only come from quantity time. Quantity, a lot of time. You cannot say that just having time with your child on a Saturday morning is quality time. Why? I mean, because then maybe at that particular time that you're together, maybe you're talking about schoolwork, or maybe you're disciplining them. So if it's only the
interaction that you have.
Exactly. Then. So then you can't, but when you have a lot of time, you're able to find you can learn your child more. You see them, you know them even when they are not in discipline. Because at times, children say, my mom only comes into when they are disciplining. Right. So that's what the children equate parenting to. It's just disciplining.
Pauline, for a parent who's watching right now, and you said it very well, we come out of the house very early in the morning, and for whatever reason, we come back home very, very late. There's a parent who's watching right now wondering, watu wanasema nini? They don't understand how much we need to work hard right now to provide, even the very basic for our children. And the issue of quality time and quantity time is something that we are struggling with.
Yes.
So then how do we then put it across to our parents who are watching that then it's not even an issue of quantity? How can we do better when it comes to spending quality time?
You realize that most of our parents, and I think we were talking about it earlier with you before we started, feel guilty that they are not giving enough time to their. And so when you audit your life, like in a week's time, and find what do I place when, do I apportion time, intentionally, that this is time to maybe even go for a walk with my child, come home early. And it's very important for you so that it's not going to jog at Jeffries, for example, is so much in your timetable, and that cannot be changed by anything. Are you that intentional with even the time with your children? Like, I need to go in the evening or a particular evening, maybe on a Friday evening, you can decide that day I'll not even probably exercise, I'll not going, but that is just time to be with my children, to go out somewhere. Not even to go out. You don't have to spend money. Because then again, quality time does not mean spending money. It could just be at home. Just being there, just learning from them. So how was the week? What is that thing that never... Because then again, how you spend that much time also matters. Because you could also spend a lot of time with your child, but you're toxic, Yes. It's a time to just tell them
the way they belittle them.
Exactly. So it should be in a positive way. You want to hear from them. How is school like? Is there a teacher that you don't really whatever? How is what is it that you want me? Even have a time to ask your children, what is it that you'd want us to change in the way we bring you up? What did you feel like we give? Learn from them. Children have a voice. Listen to them. I remember I said communication should be two-way. Not just you talking to them, but talking with them. What is it you'd want? Is there anything you'd want us to spend more time doing together? They might tell you, no, we just want you to be around. Actually, children just like their parents there. Maybe engage in a game, engage in something fun so that your children may look forward for the next weekend, for example, to be together. So for me, is being that deliberate with a particular time that your children know it is locked out. That even if their boss called, at times we, sorry to say, idolize our work. So you're like, my boss will not allow, if he calls, I have to go. Maybe if you tried even to tell them, no, I'm having something for my children. Yeah. Maybe you've actually never tried, but maybe if you could, because that's a boundary right there. So your employer will know at that particular time you cannot work. But we fear to lose our jobs more than we fear to lose our families. So it's easy to tell your family, no, I'm being called. We'll do it another time. Yeah. But you wouldn't tell your employees so that they may know that family is important to you.
Pauline, it's easy to have this conversation where you are saying that we need to set boundaries with our employers. But for somebody who's watching out there who this is their only option, and for most of us, that is what it is. How do you get the words to then put across to your employer to tell them that I'm not going to come to work on Sunday, or this is my family time and I'd want to spend quality time with my family? How do you put that across?
I will put it down to your values. I mean, if you're a performer at work and you cannot be able to say, I cannot come because of your family, then for me I would question the value there. So what really matters to you? Because I don't think your boss will, for example, fire you because you say that a particular evening you can't go. And probably you know that it's something that can go along without you being there. You can say, no, I'll schedule another time. So I think at times we let them drive us, our bosses, more than, so what is your value? What is important to you? And then, of course, even as you negotiate your job, it's good to negotiate. I had a lady one day say she wanted a job she could work 2 days a week. Wow. And someone said, you can't get that. But she says, no, I want more time, 3 days plus the weekend with my children. Wow. I only want to work. And she got a job in in a multi-level company. So at times we don't try enough. You don't want to talk
of what we want is what we are not clear about.
Exactly. What do you want? What can you take? What can you say no to? If you're told to, probably is a job for going somewhere, how much have you agreed as a family that you can have time away with each other? Or, so for me, the values. What values as a family do you have? So that you can talk together, and when you have to forego something at work that would cost money, it is something you have agreed. We are okay. We will not take it. Yeah.
All right. Pauline, we are going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll share more pointers with the parents.
Okay.
In today's episode of Today's Parent, we are talking about how we can spend quality time with our children. In studio today, we have Pauline Gekanga, who's a counselor, who has shared some tips already. And when we come back from the break, she's going to share more with you. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to today's episode of Today's Parent, where we are having a conversation with Pauline Gekanga, who's a family therapist and a counselor. We are talking about how we can spend more quality time with our children so we can give them a good foundation. Welcome back. And Pauline.
Yes, Christine.
We have a question from Becky. Becky's question is, she is a single mom, and even getting that balance is something she's struggling with. We are talking about quality time. She's the mom and dad in that family. What pointers can you share, even before we go into the meat of the matter in our second part? What pointers can you share with single moms, especially, or single dads, single parents, on how they can get that quality time into that family program?
Okay. So to the viewer, I know most of the time when we're talking about spending time, most of the time we're talking about a family where there's the father, mother, or husband and wife, and so one can work more.
Yes.
But now our viewer, a single parent, for example, what we have seen with single parents is that a single parent can decide to, some go into business. And that means then when you're in business and you're able to be your own boss, for example,
more flexible time.
You have more flexible time.
Right.
Because of course it calls for some extra more effort from you to look for that time, because it's only you, breadwinner, and having the time. So you could make such decisions like those ones, get into a more flexible job, look for a more, and like I said, at times we don't try enough. We feel like we are fixated. It's this job, it must be this job.
Yes.
I mean, I can't get another job, I can't get a more flexible job, but maybe you have not tried enough because again, you want that, your child will not stop growing because you're a single parent. So what more can you do? Of course also by involving maybe a father figure if you're a single mother, or if you're a single father,
like uncles, brothers.
Exactly, you can get a mother figure in their lives who could also be people of the same value as you, who could also maybe spend more time with your child and have a positive. So there are many ways to still get the whole of it, even as a single parent.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lady, her book is very, very popular. I think a lot of ladies who are watching, there are a few men possibly who've read it as well. The book is called The Year of Yes. I don't know if you've heard of it. So in that book, the author of the book, her name is Shonda Rhimes. And there are particular shows that she's commissioned. A lot of women love them. A lot of people love them. How to Get Away with Murder, Grey's Anatomy, those kind of programs.
Yes.
So she's a busy woman. So the reason why I'm bringing that up, you have women who are watching right now, and we have a lot of women who've gone into the workplace, and their profession has become something they work really hard on. It's a priority to them.
Yes.
Family is priority, but their career is also a priority. So what Shonda says, the one thing that she says it's impossible to find, number one, is balance. And then number two, balancing that quality as well. She's reached a point where she says she's had a help for many, many years. That as women, we need to accept, especially as working moms, that we need that help to parent our children. And then getting that quality help to then almost shadow you when you are not there. So now that we're not going to give up our jobs and we still need to spend quality time, how do we do that as busy, ambitious, professional women?
Allow me not to call it balanced living, because I don't believe there's balance. You can have a balanced, like we said earlier, you have a lot of time in the office, 8 to 5 job. So definitely you can't have 8 to 5 with your children the same day.
No.
So there's really no balance.
Yeah.
Allow me to call it like Joyce Mwangi, an author, calls it integrated living.
I like that.
Yes,
Integrated
in
living.
terms of growing, it is growth like a tree. A tree will grow its branches, but different times. There's always a longer one than the other.
Yes.
You see, they all grow at the same time, but at different levels. Now, at whatever season you're in life, if you're in a season where you have young children, it means you may still have your career, but growing in a slower rate, whereby parenting is the one taking a faster growth in your life.
How do you do that?
Because I could be, for example, an author, but I can decide I'll write from home. I'll keep writing. Maybe I cannot go out there and do a lot more shows like maybe I would want to have.
Yeah.
But I will still put down when probably the children, for example, are asleep, if I must stay at home. But I can work at that time when they are asleep. But when they wake up, I can give them more time, more quality time. So what does that mean? I'm still growing my career by putting down, even visions about what I want to grow, even maybe the kind of job I want to have. You're still researching on that, but you're not actively doing it. But I'm active more with my children, with my parenting. So I've not decided I'm putting down my job, I'm putting down my interest, I'm putting down my talent. Maybe having some time in the week where I can go out for whatever I like to do. I don't know what it is. For example, something you can find out in the week. Where is it? Where can I get that? Maybe once a week, a few hours. I could slot time within the week when I can have somebody mind the children and go for it. So I'm still growing myself as an individual, but not as a fast rate, because I'm not giving it a lot of my time. But I'm giving this parenting a lot of my time. Okay. So I'm growing, and now when my kids are grown, maybe up to 10 or 12 or teenage, up to when I would feel more freer. For example, a parent who has decided to have a lot more time bringing up their children themselves. When they are that age, you can now blossom in your career, in what you can do. You can say, now I can actually go. My children can come home, sort themselves up in the evening as I come back home. So you're growing everything. You're growing your relationships with people. You're still doing your chama, but maybe at a different way.
Yeah.
Like I can't go on a Saturday. Maybe it's a chama where I can just send money, but I cannot be available. So you still, or you can decide, I'm cutting off that, let it pend a bit, I'll get back to it. So having a map of what your life, what you define your life as, because you need to have a holistic life, but know what can grow faster than the other in a particular season.
All right.
So it's defining your seasons.
You're not talking about doing something about it.
Yes.
In the same story I've shared with you about Shonda
The
Rhimes
lady,
and her book, The Year of Yes.
Yes.
As a very busy professional mom, she then decided, this 1 year,
Yes.
everything my child is going to tell me, she has daughters.
Yes.
Everything my daughters are going to tell me within reason,
Yes.
I'm going to say
Yes.
exactly. I'm going to say yes.
Mm.
So if she's on her way out, say to an event or an award show, and it happened one time, she was out of the door, all glammed up, and her daughter said, Mom, can you play with me? Come play with me.
Wow.
And she knows she's going to give a speech at that particular event. So she's like the star of that event. But she said, what? I promised my kids in my heart. Every time they ask for my time, I will say,
yes, this year.
She removed her shoes, sat on the floor with her gown, played with her daughters for a few hours, and then, of course, called up the event and said she's going to be late. Just find a way to fill up the gaps, but I am coming. But she felt much, much better.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, maybe a few moms, a
Superb,
few dads
wonderful.
need to adopt a year of yes, and here and there, whatever is within reason. When your child asks to play with you, do something with them.
Yeah, do something with them. Put some extra effort. I mean, we put a lot of effort at work. I can do extra hours at work. If I'm told to work overtime, I can. What about that reminds me, just yesterday, I was feeling so tired. We were traveling back. And my daughter she always carries storybooks in the car. Then, Mommy, please, she can't read. Mommy, please read for me this. Wow. And I'm like, then I said, what does it cost? I was almost to say I'm tired. Then I said, what does it cost me? Yeah. She pushed near me, put my hand around her, and I read for her. And it took me 3 minutes. I mean, so what can we put extra effort than making it very easy to say no to those who we reserve? This is one phrase I use a lot in family therapy when I'm working with a couple. At times we reserve the worst for those we love most. I mean, we can give the best to those who...
To outsiders,
out of the
family.
But the worst we give to those we love most.
Something we need to rethink and unlearn.
Something to ponder about.
Something to ponder about. As you're winding up, Pauline, what is the worst that could happen if we continue not to spend quality time with our children? What's the worst that could happen?
The worst is having our children not seeing the need to spend time with their children. Remember, we are raising future parents.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm not sure when you're grandmother to your children's children, you want to see your children so busy for their own children. So I think for me, the worst would be getting to a cycle in our generations of people who have no time. And remember, family being the basic unit is a place where we can make or break one another.
Right.
Yes.
Pointers to dads, because for dads who are watching and based on what they've seen, most of them growing up, that the role of spending time with the children was the role of the mother, and the father was then the hunter-gatherer and bring food on the table. What pointers can you share with dads so then they can also unlearn what they've seen happen in the past years?
Yeah.
What can you share with them?
I mean, just to tell the dads that they have an equal share. I mean, there's no, the mothers or their wives cannot take up their share into having quality time. They have their share. They have the moment. If you have daughters, you're the first man in your daughter's life. So when you spend time with you're the mirror. You'll be the kind of man their daughter wants to have. So are you being that kind of man to your daughter, so that they may desire somebody like them when they are grown up? So they also need to work extra hard to also find quality and quantity time with their children, just like everybody has their part. And so if you don't play your part as a dad, then it means that there'll be deficiency in your child's life. So of course you want your child to, even going to school, I mean, going for activities for your children, that is spending time. Don't always, when the mother of your children go, it's not it. They want to see their fathers in also going. So they also have a place to play, because you don't want your son, for example, to always have grown up with a mother. I mean, where will they learn what it is to be a man?
Absolutely.
I mean, the wife, it doesn't matter how good the mother is or your wife is, they cannot be a father to their child.
They need you, the dad.
Yeah, and I need to say there, that's why we discourage even single parents from saying I'm the father to I'm a mother.
I'm the mother and the
you
father.
cannot be a father to your child if you're a mother. So that's why
And
it's good to have a father figure for your child, because you cannot be. You're a mother. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for coming to share.
Thank you
I hope
for
after
having me.
this episode, a lot of parents will then intentionally spend more quality time with their children.
Okay.
We thank you for
Christy.
your time. And with that, we come to the end of today's episode of Today's Parent, where with Pauline Gekanga, a family therapist, we talked about the importance of spending quality time. Let's make those moments count. It's not really about the quantity, but about the quality. I have been your host, Christine Kasina. This has been Today's Parent, where we are normally at Little Cribs, the home of fun, exciting and durable kids furniture. If you're looking for parenting resources, head on to www.supermamas.co.ke. If you have any question you need to send us, just send them through the SMS number and we'll find a way to get back to you. We thank you so much for your time and look forward to having you next time.